the shock of some, I'm going to conclude my look at my Maximal team today with the most chivalrous, perhaps most brave Maximal that there is, and the one who takes a real shining to Black Arachnia. Guess he likes the bad girls. I'm talking, of course, about the Maximal known as SIlverbolt, the fuzor, and he will be our focus in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, thanks for dropping by once again. I'm your host, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe. It helps me out tremendously. Check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers Collectors NL, and me everywhere. And this is SIlverbolt, one of the best fleshed out characters from the entire Beast Wars series. You know, he is a weird amalgamation of a bird and a wolf. Fuzors, go figure, you know. He had, I guess, a real kind of code of honor and chivalry. He had a real, like, I don't know if you call it puppy love or infatuation or what with Black Arachnia, but, you know, she seemed to have the same. I mean, I would say, if it's such a thing as Transformers being able to love each other, they loved each other. And I said he is the last of my Maximal team. It's not that there weren't other Maximals released in the Beast Wars line. There were, of course. But for my personal team, for the iterations of the characters that I want, this is the last guy. He had screen time. The only one who had screen time that really I'm not adding is Tigerhawk. And that's because I already have an iteration of Tigatron and my KO Air Razor. So that leaves this guy. And this is the original Beast Wars release. Though he did come out in the Universe line, it kind of colored like purple and pink or something. It was weird. It was really weird, man. But it's still a solid mold. Now, the conversion, very interesting, especially for the time. And the articulation, while not absolutely perfect, is pretty strong for the most part, especially when you think about the fact that this came out over 20 years ago. And it still stands up against a lot of figures today. Let's head over to the table so I can explain what I mean when we take a closer look at this guy. And I figured I'd start off by showing him off with She Whom He Loves, that of course being Black Arachnia. Now I know that this Black Arachnia is the animated version, who apparently was retconned somehow, I'm not sure how, but apparently was retconned to be the Beast Wars Black Arachnia. And I feel like this iteration of her at least kind of sort of looks like the way she did when she got reformatted to be a Maximal. So, like, I'm okay with that. Now, this same mold, however, was used with some slight remolding and, of course, a different deco to be the Beast Wars Black Arachnia that we all know and love. And I wanted to at least show the mold off next to SIlverbolt here so that you could see kind of, you know, how Black Arachnia and the love of her life, I suppose, like, scale with each other. And I don't know, like, I guess it's alright. I guess it's okay. I kind of thought that it would look weird and he would look really short next to her, but maybe because of his wings, it's not too bad. Maybe. I looked at Black Arachnia a long time ago in episode 29. Now, I'm not going to kind of address her anymore here as like a Maximal or part of the Maximal team. We'll hold on to Black Arachnia when we look at the Predacons. You know, another time, another day. But I wanted to show at least this much off before we jump into looking at SIlverbolt. And now we can start things off properly with him in his animal mode, which is the way I do believe he came in package. And, like, okay, fuzors, man. Weird creatures. Half wolf, half bird, eagle, falcon, I don't know. I did do one custom paint app here. I put some black in here to give him a pupil. It was not there. I believe the Japanese version has a white eye with, you know, like a black pupil. I wanted something that wasn't just a stark yellow. I wanted something at least that identified it as an eye. So I did that. I only have one of these like baton things. The other one, of course, would be over here. And the gimmick is that you pull on his tail and it makes the wings move. If you pull on it too much, of course, the wings will move so far forward that this fires out. I don't really like it anyway. I don't want him to have it. So I didn't care that this one was missing. I got one, I suppose. That's fine, I guess. The wings, they can move way up like this. They can move way down. The jaw, I don't think that opens and closes. No, I don't think that does anything. These front legs, they can go forward and back and out to the side, and there's a full elbow. They retain the same articulation in his animal mode and in his robot mode. These back ones here, they can go back and front and out to the side, and I guess there's a bit of a knee bend. These are his robot mode arms folded up. These are his robot mode legs, and they really kind of hold the same articulation here as they do in his robot mode, and I'm cool with that. As for the paint apps, I love it. I'm going to just position him so that you can see like a top view on the guy. I absolutely love this paint, especially the way it's done on the wings. I think it looks glorious. I didn't really do much at all in the way of custom paint apps on this guy. Like I said, that pupil, and besides for the pupil, on his robot mode tummy around his like red jewel thing, I did put a little bit of a darker gray on the tips there just to kind of pick out the molded in detail. But honestly, I love the look of this. I think it's great. The molded in detail of the fur and the feathers is amazing. I'm gonna say it's easily 9.5. It's fantastic. The Japanese one probably a 10. So yeah, big fan, big fan. The articulation decent here. We'll give that a score in robot mode though. And that brings us to the conversion for the guy. Not hard, but interesting. So we'll kind of take the wings and we'll pick them up like this out of the way, just so as we work we can kind of see what we're doing a bit easier. You don't need to pick them up like this, but you can. I will say this, I like this version of him, the Beast Wars version, way better than the like purpley universe one that came out. That was weird, man. That was just strange. So how do we begin with this guy? Take, I guess, this front paw down and this front paw down. Straighten these out, and they're going to end up tabbing together. But before you do that, take the head here of the wolf, I guess, and bring it forward all the way down under. Then you can bring the hips together. And to help solidify them even more, we bring the hip skirt down, and there's a little rectangular slot there that goes over a little rectangular peg right there. It doesn't hold tremendously well, but I get what it was like designed to do. It doesn't do it that great. And that's most of the body done. The little bit of paint app that I talked about around his tummy jewel is right here. It's just a bit of like dark gloss gray is all. Nothing major. Next we can come here, I guess, to his head and flip his robot mode head up, though I think that's slightly, no, it's not quite at a screen, but we'll position it after. Ah, my card got full. The battery didn't go, my card got full. Ah, that kind of irritates me to no end. I don't know if it irritates you, but it always kind of drives me crazy, especially when I am this close to the end. So I have the legs done and tabbed together, the hip skirt's holding it on as best as it can, man. The head is flipped up, like I said, we're almost there. All we need to do now really is we separate the sections here on the back. And there's a gray armature here. We bring it forward and we bring it in on itself and in by the body. Same on the other side. Over here, we bring it forward, in on itself, in on the body. Then we come to the arms and we begin to bring them down. And we bring them down. As we bring them down, we're kind of going to have the legs work their way up on the kind of back of the arm. And I guess position the wings however you see fit. And you can fold the tail down. I guess if you want you can leave it out, but you're supposed to fold it down. Yes, he does have a rather large, egregious backpack. There's no doubt. But from here you can still use the gimmick with the wings going forward. I'm not pulling it all the way forward to make that thing pop out, but they do go all the way forward. I don't know, I like this guy, even though he's really weird, and I wish that something better could be done with the wings. The transformation is easy, so we said 9.5 for the paint apps. For the transformation, honestly, it's interesting, but none of it is hard. I love that the robot mode arms become the back legs, and that his legs down here become the front legs. I think that that's kind of brilliant. Interesting series of hinges. I'm going to say 9.5 again. So 9.5, 9.5, he's a 9.5. What about the articulation? The articulation's not bad. The head, it can go a little left and right, but not a lot because it has a lot of junk around it. The wings, we already know they can go like all the way up if you want. It's too bad that they can't sort of fold back out of the way nicer, but at least you can move them. The shoulders go all the way out. We know that the elbow can go all the way up. Because of it, there's no bicep, but because we have like a ball peg here at the elbow, we do still get a rotation there. The arms go all the way around. No waist, because that is how kind of like a lot of stuff locks in. The hips, now see, here's the one problem. The hips don't lock together the best. The hips can go by rights way out to the side quite well. And by rights, they go forward very well. They go back very well. Oh, and I forgot to do one piece of transformation and flip up his chest piece. I am sorry. We have a knee that goes to 90 degrees, no problem. We don't have like a thigh swivel. Very limited around the ball joint up at the hip. The toes tilt forward and back, the heel tilts forward and back. But the problem is that the hips do not like to stay together. So, because of that, though he was getting a 9.5 with a really interesting transformation and a great color scheme, honestly, because the hips don't hold together as well as they should, I have to say about 7.5 at best, maybe even a 7. We're going to say a 7 for articulation. No thigh swivel, no waist rotation, and like, you know, you move a leg out to the side and they're probably going to split apart like that, you know, and they shouldn't. We should be able to, especially with all the ways that they do connect together. It's a shame too, because all the joints on the guy feel fantastic even after all these years. But like they peg together there, you would figure that should be solid enough, but it's not quite. And this coming down, while that should help solidify it, again, the tolerance is like, it just sort of rests there. It doesn't really lock in or anything. Overall score for the guy, he's about 8.5. He's fun. He's great. You're gonna enjoy him if you're a Beast Wars fan. But I think that you would realize that there are certain imperfections. Part of it because of the time that it was made, and sort of the limitations of articulation technology. But you're also going to be slightly disappointed with a couple of little tolerance issues. Although, that being said, maybe you won't. Maybe you won't care. To me, it doesn't really matter so much. Like, objectively speaking, he's about an 8.5. Subjectively speaking, I don't care about the little imperfections. I'm used to it with the figures of modern age. And considering this guy came out about 20 years ago, like, he is fantastic for the time. Really better than a lot of things we get today, even with his imperfections. And here he is with the entire Maximal team to see how well he fits in. And here's my entire Maximal team, the whole group. All of these guys have been looked at one time or another here on the channel. Very recently I looked at Classics Dinobot here and kind of covered where you can find the reviews for all these guys. Every one of them had screen time. I'm not including Transmutate. I'm not including Tigerhawk. This, to me, is the Maximals. Now, there's one here who did not appear on screen, that being Lio Jr., who was from Beast Wars 2. He didn't appear on North American screens anyway. He did appear in Beast Wars 2. I got a KO of him for a couple of bucks. Why not? It's a pretty good KO. The only change to this lineup that I am considering making, that I might make, will be to remove Optimus Primal and include the Power of the Primes Optimal Optimus. I don't know which one looks better with the group as a whole. Yes, we could probably use a Voyager Dinobot. Yes, we might even be able to use a Voyager Silverbolt, but overall, I'm really happy. As a Chug collector, I'm really happy with how this lineup turned out. What is your Beast Wars lineup like? Who do you have? Who would you like to have? Some of those figures were great. I know that this is a mishmash of a bunch of different lines, but there are a lot from the original Beast Wars line here as well. And now that we've looked at all of the Maximals that I have in my personal collection that I'm very proud of, by the way, I guess the only logical thing to do would be to move on and take a look at the, yin to this yang, that of course being the Predacons. Yes. And by now, you've seen the entire Maximal team, though I'm not sure which version of Optimus Primal to use, the Beast Wars one or the Power of the Primes Optimal Optimus. And this guy is fantastic. The paint is astounding. The molded in detail is amazing. The plastic feels fantastic. The articulation is pretty much second to none, though we do have a little tolerance issue down here with his hips staying together and this flap staying down over the front to kind of hold the hips together. Even lacking a bicep swivel isn't that big of a deal when you have the ball peg at the elbow. It'd be nice if he had the bicep swivel, but hey, I kind of get why it would be hard to mold that in here, I suppose. I didn't need to add much in the way of custom paint apps for this guy because he was largely accurate anyway. I do wish that there was something else we could probably do with these wing pieces. Yes, you do suffer from having a little bit of an egregious backpack. Such is life. It's strong. Is it perfect? No, probably not. Do we need an update for this guy? I think a nice Voyager class figure, just a little bit bigger, would probably fit him quite well. It's arguable that this guy might be a little bit too small, but until and if that day ever comes, in the meantime, I think I'm going to be pretty fine having such a splendid addition to my Maximal team. And that's it. That rounds out my Maximals, and I guess all that leaves are the Predacons. And I've looked at a couple of them in the past, not many, and typically they tend to be not quite as popular and sometimes more challenging to get than the Maximals for some peculiar reason. I don't know why, but that's my entire Maximal team. Let me know if I kind of left out some of your favorites, ones that you know from Beast Wars 2 or Beast Wars Neo maybe. And I might be down to add a couple of those, like Karada. I like Karada. I think that's Karada, the snake, right? And I've said before that I'd kind of like to have that Lio convoy. So, there are certain key additions. I don't want a Stampy. I never want a Stampy. Nobody should want a Stampy. That rabbit is like the wheelie of Beast Wars. But this guy's fantastic. Anyway, let me know what you think about him. As always, I appreciate you dropping by, giving me some of your extremely valuable time. Again, I'm going to say please hit that subscribe button. It helps me out so very much. And I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit right here inside the videos.